Iraqi dinar today latest news. What an absolutely monumental day this is for the Iraqi dinar community and for global financial observers who have been tracking the meticulous economic and political progress of Iraq. What we're currently witnessing is sending a genuine shockwave across international financial circles, with many analysts suggesting this is not just another development, but perhaps the single most decisive turning point in Iraq's entire modern financial narrative. For an extended period, indeed years, millions have intensely monitored every facet of Iraq's reform efforts, its complex legislative negotiations, the critical strategies for its colossal oil sector, and most importantly, the nation's overarching currency strategy. All of this attention has been focused on the anticipation of that one moment, when the final essential piece of this colossal economic jigsaw puzzle would finally click into perfect alignment. That potentially transformative moment, we're being told, is now actively unfolding. What is beginning to solidify today is significantly more substantial than mere unverified rumor, recycled speculation, or the habitual cycle of guesswork that has plagued this narrative for so long. This emergent information possesses a different quality entirely. It is structural, seemingly solid, and carries the genuine weight to trigger a major, irreversible shift in Iraq's long-term financial trajectory. Highly credible, though unofficial, reports strongly indicate that Iraq has achieved the internal finalization of its highly anticipated hydrocarbon law agreement, often referred to as the HCL, essentially behind closed doors. Economic experts are swift to point out that this specific law has acted as the fundamental bottleneck, the critical obstacle that has prevented the launch of the next, crucial phase of Iraq's monetary strategy for an extended period. If this completion is soon confirmed publicly, the consensus is that it will radically change the entire landscape, launching the country into what many believe is the final countdown toward establishing a new exchange rate that could genuinely astonish the world. With so many variables converging simultaneously, it's imperative to follow every single detail of this report closely, as each piece of information is now more critical than ever before. For those viewers who are perhaps newer to the intricate narrative of the Iraqi dinar, or for those returning after a period of distanced observation, it's vital to grasp that the entire foundation upon which Iraq's economic reform rests is constructed on a handful of absolutely critical laws and strategic, high-level decisions. At the very core, the indispensable center of these requirements, resides the Hydrocarbon Law, HCL. This pivotal piece of legislation is designed to determine the precise legal framework for how Iraq manages, shares revenue from, distributes, and legally protects its single most valuable national asset, its immense oil and gas wealth. For well over a decade, persistent and often volatile disputes over the fundamental mechanism of oil revenue sharing, primarily between the federal government in Baghdad, the semi-autonomous Kurdistan region, and the southern provinces, have systematically stalled nearly all progress. This lack of agreement has actively blocked national budgets, severely limited Iraq's ability to project an image as a unified, stable, and truly investment-ready nation on the world stage. It cannot be overstated, without the official and unified passage of this foundational law, no significant currency reform, no internationally recognized banking framework, and no deep, long-term foreign investment could ever fully and securely take root in the country. Now, with the continuous influx of new information asserting that Iraq has successfully finalized this critically important deal internally, the nation appears to be meticulously positioning itself for the dramatic launch of its next strategic chapter. This profound shift is precisely why global financial analysts, major institutional investors, and all dedicated dinar holders are currently focused with such singular, unwavering attention. This is not simply another fleeting political story. It represents a deep, fundamental structural shift that directly and powerfully affects Iraq's entire future monetary policy. With the HCL reportedly completed outside of the public eye, Iraq may have secured the long-awaited green light required to move decisively toward establishing a stronger, more internationally respected and recognized currency. What elevates today's development to such an explosive level is not just the claim that the HCL is finished, but the established manner in which the Iraqi government appears to be handling this major policy completion. Iraq possesses a long and well-documented history of completing major nation-defining policy decisions, often in an intentionally quiet, private manner, without any immediate public announcement until the precise timing perfectly aligns with their meticulously calculated political or overarching economic strategy. This method is considered standard practice for the Iraqi government, utilized specifically to preserve national economic stability, proactively prevent damaging currency speculation, and protect sensitive, high-stakes negotiations they are often engaged in with international financial partners. Expert observers who have been tracking this movement are universally pointing out that an internally completed but unreleased HCL is the exact type of quiet, strategic progress Iraq has reliably employed in the past when it was preparing to activate a much larger, more comprehensive national economic plan. This strategic delay allows the government the necessary time and space to finalize every internal arrangement, coordinating the essential national banking changes, meticulously aligning all budget mechanisms, and fully preparing all related international systems before making any information public whatsoever. If Iraq has indeed finalized the HCL internally and is consciously holding back the official public announcement, it strongly suggests they are entering what can only be described as the final high-pressure execution window. This creates a uniquely high-stakes financial environment where global markets, currency observers, and regional governments are all intensely watching for the single moment the law publicly appears. When that official release occurs, many believe it could serve as the instantaneous trigger for the next critical phase of Iraq's comprehensive monetary reform, executed without any meaningful delay. Perhaps the most immediately attention-grabbing element of today's developing update involves the projected exchange rate range currently being discussed and analyzed within the broader global financial community. We must recall that historically, Iraq's currency once commanded a valuation exceeding $3 per single dinar, back during a period when the country enjoyed a considerably stable economic structure, buttressed by its massive, uncontested oil production and robust international cooperation. That significant historical benchmark, frequently cited with the value of $3.22, is widely regarded by many seasoned experts as representing Iraq's true natural valuation before decades of devastating conflict, crippling sanctions, systemic corruption, and severe financial disruption forcefully knocked the country's economy off its intended course. Now, with Iraq having successfully stabilized its political environment, undergoing a radical reorganization of its financial system, painstakingly restructuring its complex oil agreements, committing to rebuilding its vital infrastructure, and diligently re-establishing international partnerships. That historical reference value has forcefully re-entered the conversation. Projections that are presently circulating through financial channels estimate a potential currency reinstatement range that spans from the historical $3.22 markup into the mid-$4 range. While it must be stressed that absolutely no official rate can be confirmed until Iraq formally reveals it, this specific range is not the result of random speculation. Instead, it powerfully reflects Iraq's immense natural wealth, its vast untapped economic potential, and the strong structural integrity of the comprehensive reforms that have been completed over the past few years. For many long-term currency observers and investors, these numerical projections represent a highly realistic and grounded reflection of Iraq's true underlying economic strength. Should Iraq choose to announce an official exchange rate anywhere within this forecasted bracket, it would instantaneously and fundamentally reposition the country as one of the most financially potent and strongest currencies operating within the entire Middle East region. The possibility of an official new exchange rate landing in the higher segment of that range, somewhere between $4 and $4.26, would truly reshape Iraq's global financial standing literally overnight. Such a high valuation would represent not merely a return to Iraq's historic stature, but also a crucial adjustment and recognition for the extensive economic and structural foundations Iraq has diligently built in the period since the prior valuation. The nation now stands upon some of the world's absolute largest confirmed oil reserves, coupled with significantly expanded natural gas potential, massive reserves of untapped mineral wealth, and a continuously emerging modern non-oil economy. This diversified foundation is being actively supported by new technology, modern trade agreements, and strong international investment partnerships. In addition, Iraq is currently leading a regional trend toward achieving greater financial independence, actively working to reduce its reliance on the U.S. dollar in domestic markets, rigorously strengthening its banking laws, and substantially increasing its compliance with complex international financial systems. Experts theorize that an announcement of a higher exchange rate would not be a volatile, speculative jump, but rather a calculated recognition of Iraq's significant long-term potential and the structural integrity it has achieved. A rate within the mid-$4 range, for example, would allow Iraq to potentially sell its oil in a significantly stronger local currency, work to reduce national inflation, dramatically improve the purchasing power of its citizenry, and simultaneously create entirely new and attractive opportunities for significant foreign direct investment. Such a development would inevitably possess global consequences, potentially affecting major oil markets, recalibrating various international trade agreements, and altering regional currency positions. In short, the world is intensely focused because a significantly higher valued dinar would demonstrably alter far more than just Iraq's domestic economy. It would send powerful, stabilizing ripples across the entire international financial landscape. What makes this exact moment in the calendar so uniquely compelling is the reported timeline that appears to be intrinsically connected to the completed HCL and Iraq's broader, coordinated economic master plan. According to analysts who meticulously track Iraq's fiscal calendar, critical government meetings, cyclical budget announcements, and vital international engagements, the strategic window for a major economic move aligns perfectly with the current final quarter of the year. This crucial timing has been repeatedly emphasized and strongly signaled by Iraqi leadership itself, who have made it undeniably clear that their national goal is for the country to successfully enter the new year standing on a freshly established, stronger economic foundation. For many months, Iraq has consistently signaled that its structural reforms, critical budget adjustments, and new policy directives would all purposefully converge toward the close of the year to properly prepare the groundwork for a larger, nation-defining economic transition. Now, with the continuous influx of reports suggesting that the HCL has been finalized in a private, non-public manner, this established timeline takes on an even greater, more profound meaning. The final quarter of the year is traditionally when Iraq concludes its budget finalizations, rigorously reviews all policy reforms, and chooses to announce major, impactful policy changes. This timing makes the present period not merely a possibility, but the single most strategically ideal moment for Iraq to formally roll out a major economic update of this magnitude. Furthermore, if Iraq's true intention is to introduce a new, higher exchange rate or formally reinstate its currency on the global stage, making that pivotal announcement before the absolute commencement of the new fiscal year would undeniably represent the most efficient and fiscally calculated approach possible for the government to take, to fully appreciate why the completion of the HCL is so profoundly critical, and why its successful finalization could indeed serve as the necessary trigger for the next phase of Iraq's monetary plan, it's essential to understand its core objective. The hydrocarbon law is designed to determine the precise method for how Iraq manages, sells, and distributes all revenue generated from its vast oil and gas resources, which constitute the country's primary economic engine. Without a unified, comprehensive, and legally protected structure for the distribution of this essential oil revenue, Iraq has been structurally unable to achieve complete and lasting economic stability. The persistent, entrenched disputes, particularly between Baghdad and the Kurdistan region, have repeatedly derailed national budgets, actively stalled foreign development contracts, and prevented major international oil companies from committing to the essential long-term projects. Country needs. The prolonged absence of the HCL has been correctly identified as one of the largest and most destructive obstacles to Iraq's sustained economic growth for well over a decade. However, if the law has been successfully finalized internally, it would immediately create a significantly more stable and predictable environment for foreign investment, foster national unity, and enable far more effective long-term economic planning. This fundamental stability is a necessary, non-negotiable requirement for any nation that is seriously preparing to either strengthen its national currency or fully re-enter the global financial stage as a confident, strong player. The completion of the HCL strongly signals that Iraq has achieved a level of internal political and economic agreement that was previously considered entirely impossible, and this newfound unity represents a massive, necessary step forward toward the establishment of a significantly stronger national currency. When we meticulously analyze the totality of activity inside Iraq over the past year, it becomes overtly clear that the government has been strategically and systematically preparing for this exact high-stakes moment. Under the current leadership, Iraq has aggressively and purposefully pursued a multifaceted series of reforms designed to reduce the national dependence on the U.S. dollar, significantly strengthen the local dinar, modernize its antiquated banking sector, and dramatically increase financial transparency. This coordinated effort has included the launch of new, intensive anti-corruption campaigns, the implementation of much stricter national banking regulations, the adoption of advanced financial technology, and the initiation of deeper integration with international financial systems. Iraq has successfully rolled out sophisticated digital platforms to meticulously track transactions, purposefully removed unauthorized or black market currency channels, and collaborated closely with global organizations to ensure complete compliance and financial stability. Crucially, these steps were not isolated, disconnected events. They have been part of a highly coordinated, unified plan expressly designed to fully prepare Iraq for a major, structural economic transition. Each reform builds logically upon the next, collectively laying the solid, necessary foundation for a stronger, more resilient financial system capable of supporting a significantly higher valued currency. When these comprehensive reforms are combined with the newly reported completion of the HCL, they paint a clear, unambiguous picture. Iraq has been preparing for something monumental, something fundamentally structural, and something that possesses the power to change the nation's economic trajectory for decades into the future. What we are observing now is the distinct convergence of critical economic, political, and legal reforms into a single, highly pressurized window that many experienced experts describe as the activation phase. This is the precise moment when years of meticulous planning, complex negotiation, and difficult structural adjustment are all coming together to enable a potentially decisive financial shift for Iraq. The completion of the HCL is viewed as the final foundational piece required before any major currency move can be executed in a responsible, sustainable, and organized manner. With the law reportedly finalized in private and currently awaiting public release, Iraq appears to be aligning all of the remaining elements of its extensive economic plan. This final alignment includes the necessary preparation of the national budget, the fine-tuning of the overall financial framework, and the careful coordination with international banking systems. Observers strongly believe that Iraq is determined to ensure every single mechanism is fully operational and completely ready before making the public announcement, thereby allowing for a smooth and stable transition that does not actively disrupt markets or internal stability. When this type of profound convergence happens in a national economy, it typically signifies that a country has reached the absolute final stage of its preparation for a major, systemic economic adjustment. For Iraq, this impending adjustment could very well involve the reintroduction or reinstatement of the dinar at a substantially higher value, a single, pivotal move that would redefine the nation's entire financial future. One of the most powerful and telling aspects of today's developing update is the significant and immediate reaction it has generated among longtime dinar observers, geopolitical analysts, and foreign investors who have dedicated years to following Iraq's intricate developments. Many of these groups have spent a decade or more studying Iraq's specific patterns, its political tendencies, fiscal behaviors, and its strategic timing. They have developed the skill to recognize when Iraq is intentionally moving slowly, when its progress is stalled, and, most importantly, when it is advancing quickly and efficiently behind the scenes. Right now, a consensus is emerging among these experienced observers that Iraq is entering a truly unique, highly aligned moment. The calculated timing of the reported HCL completion, the coordinated and aggressive reforms, the updates to banking laws, the necessary budget adjustments, and the overall political tone all consistently point toward a major, carefully orchestrated national strategy that is unfolding quietly but with undeniable efficiency. This shared interpretation is precisely why the global financial community is paying attention with a higher sense of urgency than they have in years. Iraq has successfully achieved a level of national stability and organizational readiness that many had pessimistically believed would take far longer to materialize. The nation's advanced readiness today suggests that a fundamental shift in the exchange rate or a full reinstatement of the dinar may no longer be a distant, vague possibility, but an imminent event rapidly approaching. While no one can predict the precise day or hour that Iraq will choose to publicly release the HCL or introduce a new exchange rate, the current momentum overwhelmingly suggests that the nation is actively preparing for a truly significant announcement within this very quarter. Iraq's established precedent is to avoid sudden, publicly disruptive decisions without ensuring every internal component is fully prepared and perfectly aligned. This means that if the HCL has genuinely been finalized behind closed doors, Iraq may now be solely focused on the critical final phase of testing, reviewing, and synchronizing every single element required to support the next step. This crucial coordination includes ensuring that the central bank, the National Budget Office, the provincial governments, the Kurdistan region, major foreign energy companies, and key international banking partners are all in complete alignment. When a nation prepares to adjust its national currency or fundamentally restructure its core economic framework, timing is the absolute key. Iraq will want to release this news at a strategically chosen moment that actively protects its internal markets, successfully maintains national stability, and flawlessly aligns with global international financial systems. All current signs strongly indicate that the government is operating with immense precision and extreme caution, which is a powerful indicator that something truly significant is rapidly approaching its implementation phase. The global implications of a significantly strengthened Iraqi dinar are vast and cannot be overstated. If Iraq successfully introduces a new exchange rate anywhere within the widely projected range, it would immediately transform the country into one of the most financially influential nations in the entire Middle East. A stronger dinar would automatically grant Iraq increased national purchasing power, create vastly improved trade opportunities, and secure greater financial independence from foreign influence. Even more profound is the potential impact this would have on the global oil market. A higher-valued dinar could eventually allow Iraq to move towards selling its massive oil reserves in its own currency, rather than remaining solely reliant on the U.S. dollar. This fundamental shift would carry massive implications for global trade, potentially challenging the long-standing dominance of the petrodollar system and opening new, significant pathways for multi-currency trade agreements. Countries that are reliant on Middle Eastern oil would be compelled to adjust their investment strategies and economic plans, creating powerful ripple effects across Asia, Europe, and North America. The world is watching because a strengthened Iraqi dinar would not just reshape Iraq's future. It could fundamentally alter the existing balance of global economic power and trade dynamics. Internally, inside Iraq, the effect of an announced new exchange rate would be both immediate and potentially transformative for the entire national population. A stronger dinar would dramatically boost consumer purchasing power, significantly reduce the national dependence on foreign currencies, and generate more opportunities for investment and widespread economic growth. It would also actively help to mitigate inflation, stabilize domestic prices, and support the expansion of Iraq's vital middle class. One of the largest, most critical advantages would be the marked increase in confidence from foreign investors who have patiently been waiting for Iraq to finalize its oil agreements, implement robust banking reforms, and establish necessary legal protections. With the HCL reportedly completed, many of these international investors may now view Iraq as a significantly more reliable, predictable, and secure environment for long-term capital investment. This influx of confidence would attract international oil companies, advanced technology firms, major infrastructure developers, and large financial institutions. A higher-valued currency would simultaneously allow Iraq to aggressively expand its infrastructure projects, modernize its essential public services, and dramatically increase employment across multiple, diverse sectors. For the Iraqi people, this collective progress would decisively mark a new era of genuine opportunity, stability, and renewed national pride after enduring years of devastating economic difficulty and instability. One of the most critical, yet often overlooked, components of Iraq's sweeping economic transformation is the significant modernization of its national banking system. Over the past year, Iraq has successfully implemented new state-of-the-art fraud-resistant technologies, updated its digital payment platforms, and introduced much stricter compliance measures to fully meet robust international banking standards. These necessary upgrades were absolutely essential for Iraq to successfully integrate with global financial systems and to effectively support a modernized, higher-valued currency framework. The Central Bank of Iraq has also purposefully tightened its control over currency markets, systematically restricted unauthorized dollar transactions outside the formal system, and implemented new tracking systems to actively prevent fraud and money laundering. These steps were non-negotiable requirements to stabilize the volatile economy and to create a secure, predictable environment capable of successfully supporting a stronger national currency. When these banking reforms are combined with the reported completion of the HCL, they clearly indicate that Iraq has strategically positioned itself for a major and imminent economic evolution. The sheer speed and aggression with which these reforms were implemented over the past year strongly suggests that Iraq has been preparing for a decisive financial shift that is likely approaching sooner rather than later. Another major and compounding factor contributing to today's intense sense of urgency is Iraq's strong, ongoing push for extensive economic diversification. While oil unquestionably remains the foundational backbone of Iraq's economy, the country has begun aggressively expanding into new, crucial industries such including advanced agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, general trade, and technology. This deliberate diversification reduces the national reliance on oil revenue alone and successfully positions Iraq for far more stable, long-term national growth. It simultaneously increases the nation's ability to successfully support a stronger currency, as diversified economies are fundamentally more resilient and inherently more attractive to long-term foreign investors. In recent months, Iraq has formally signed new international contracts, substantially expanded its non-oil energy infrastructure, launched new national economic zones, and actively encouraged robust private sector development. These actions collectively demonstrate a clear, consistent strategy aimed at purposefully building a more balanced, modern, and resilient national economy. When this diversification push is paired with the newly reported completion of the HCL, it becomes even more critically important. It provides Iraq with the underlying economic strength necessary to successfully sustain a higher, valued currency, while also signaling unequivocally to global markets that Iraq is entirely serious about long-term structural reform. As Iraq prepares for what many experts believe may be the biggest economic shift in its modern history, the international community is watching with exceptionally heightened attention. Global financial institutions, major oil companies, leading economists, and foreign governments are all meticulously monitoring Iraq's every move, knowing with certainty that any major, systemic change in Iraq's currency or oil framework will inevitably have broad global consequences. Iraq is not simply another developing country. It holds some of the largest proven energy reserves in the world and occupies a critical geopolitical crossroads. A stronger Iraqi currency would undeniably influence global oil pricing mechanisms, shift international trade agreements, and affect regional power dynamics throughout the Middle East. This strategic importance is precisely why today's reports of a finalized HCL are so globally significant. The world fully understands that once Iraq officially releases this law, it will signal the undisputed beginning of a new era in the country's economic development. This moment could trigger a wave of new partnerships, new foreign investments, and new strategic adaptations from governments and corporations around the world. Iraq is clearly positioning itself to be a major, influential economic force, and the specific next steps it takes possess the power to reshape global financial landscapes for many decades to come. For Dinar holders worldwide, today's major update represents a significant moment of renewed hope and an intense, laser-like focus. Many individuals have followed Iraq's complex progress for years, investing considerable time, intellectual energy, and deep research into truly understanding the country's difficult economic development. They have endured numerous cycles of intense speculation, suffered through continuous political delays, and navigated conflicting information, yet many have remained patiently dedicated because of their belief in Iraq's profound long-term potential. Now, with the HCL reportedly finalized, and the current timeline consistently pointing toward the strategic end of this financial year, many observers feel that the pivotal moment they have long anticipated may finally be rapidly approaching. This period is not one for blind, hopeful speculation. It is fundamentally a period of highly strategic observation. The convergence of indicators is clearer now than at any point in recent memory. Coordinated reforms, fiscal alignment, internal political agreements, and a legally binding structure for oil distribution. These key elements form the fundamental groundwork required for any nation to successfully and sustainably strengthen its national currency. While nothing is official until Iraq announces it publicly and formally, the momentum supporting a significant move is stronger now than at any time in recent memory. Dedicated Dinar holders are watching with a sense of cautious optimism, fully aware that everything they have monitored for years is finally reaching a crucial point of convergence. It is absolutely essential during moments like this to maintain balanced, realistic expectations, while simultaneously recognizing the genuine significance of the structural changes that are actively unfolding. Iraq is moving strategically, with immense care, and with clear, unmistakable national intention. They are not rushing impulsively through incomplete reforms or acting without foresight. Every single step the government has taken has been measured, structurally sound, and perfectly aligned with a larger, cohesive national vision. This level of comprehensive coordination is exactly what financial experts have been waiting for. It clearly signals a growing maturity in the government's financial planning capabilities and a deep, confident commitment to the country's long-term strategic direction. As observers, we must fully understand that major national economic transitions demand precision, stability, and calculated timing. Iraq is clearly ensuring that nothing is left to chance. The reported completion of the HCL is a decisive signal that Iraq has achieved a level of internal unity and economic readiness that would have been completely unthinkable only a decade ago. Combined with ongoing banking reforms, economic diversification, modernization efforts, and reduced reliance on foreign currencies, this moment reflects a nation on the very cusp of a dramatic new financial chapter. The most pressing question on everyone's mind is straightforward. When will the official public announcement be made? While no one possesses an exact date, all available signals point strongly toward the current final quarter of the year as the targeted strategic window. This timing perfectly aligns with Iraq's traditional budget cycle, its overarching fiscal strategy, and its necessary financial planning. Historically, Iraq has shown a preference for launching major economic decisions toward the end of the year to ensure a clean, smooth transition into the subsequent fiscal period. This approach provides the government with the necessary time to fully adjust public policy, stabilize the entire economy, and align all systems with international partners before entering a brand new financial year. If the HCL is indeed finalized internally, Iraq may be preparing to formally publish it right in line with this established timeline. And once that pivotal law becomes official and public, the door opens wide for the single most anticipated next development, the formal announcement of Iraq's new exchange rate or its finalized monetary policy direction. For the time being, all eyes remain firmly locked on Iraq's leadership, patiently waiting for the precise moment when the government determines that the timing is perfectly correct. For viewers, analysts, and all followers within the Dinar community, today's critical update marks the beginning of what many believe will be the single most crucial observation window in years. This is the time to remain fully informed, intensely focused, and to pay close attention to every single development emanating from Baghdad. The next major announcement could arrive entirely unexpectedly, and its resulting impact could be genuinely historic. A finalized HCL behind the scenes signals a final, comprehensive preparation. A unified government signals national readiness. Updated banking laws signal essential stability. And heightened global attention signals undeniable anticipation. All of these converging pieces together create a powerful environment that is poised for profound transformation. The world is watching Iraq, and Iraq itself appears ready to take its momentous step into a new, financially powerful era. Whatever comes next will fundamentally shape the nation's future and potentially affect global markets in ways that few other countries have the structural power to do. If the impending announcement involves a significant adjustment to the exchange rate or a full currency reinstatement, it would mark one of the most important economic moments of the entire decade. We must fully grasp the true magnitude of what Iraq is currently preparing for. This is not simply about internal budget adjustments or minor reforms. We are discussing a potential fundamental shift in the value of a national currency that holds the proven power to influence vast international markets. We are discussing the ultimate stabilization of oil revenue distribution, a complex issue that has been fiercely debated for more than 10 years. We are finally discussing the activation of systemic structural reforms that have required years of high-stakes negotiation, complex legislative effort, vital international cooperation, and persistent internal alignment. If the HCL is now finalized, it serves as undeniable confirmation that Iraq has achieved a level of national unity and economic readiness that aligns perfectly with the government's ambitious, long-term vision. It also clearly signals to the world that Iraq is fully ready to step back onto the global financial stage with newfound strength, immense confidence, and verifiable stability. This is why today's update carries such profound significance. It represents more than just gradual progress. It heralds the beginning of a new economic era. The reports strongly indicate that Iraq has finalized the hydrocarbon law behind the scenes, the most fundamentally important economic law the nation has needed for over a decade. This law is the foundation for national unity, the catalyst for foreign investment, the key to budget stability, and most crucially, the necessary launching point for Iraq's next ambitious monetary phase. Analysts are projecting a potential new exchange rate range situated between the historically relevant $3.22 and the significant mid-$4 range, a bracket that powerfully reflects both the nation's historical valuation and its vast modern economic potential. The strategic timeline for the official public announcement appears to be tightly aligned with the current quarter, strongly suggesting that Iraq is meticulously preparing for a major, decisive roll-out before the start of the new fiscal year. With extensive banking reforms securely in place, a strategic reduction in reliance on the U.S. dollar, aggressive economic diversification efforts well underway, and global markets watching with intensity, Iraq has flawlessly positioned itself for one of the most crucial financial transitions in modern history. The coming days and weeks could finally bring the news everyone has been waiting for. We urge you to stay subscribed, stay alert, and stay completely informed, because the next announcement could permanently reshape the entire Iraqi dinar landscape in a single, defining moment.